for me that was a hindrance in a sense was I was competing in my own weird, twisted way in my head with my very athletic husband and thinking I need to do all of the things that he was doing in order to find my balance and to stay fit. And it took me so long to realize no, my fitness journey and my plan are going to look how that looks for me.
What's up, Blueprint family? Today's topic is the dangers of competing with your spouse. Now, we just heard from Ayesha Curry, and she said that she was competing in her own weird, twisted way in her head with her husband. Um, Now, we wanted to talk about um, competition with relationships, and as those are red flags in relationships. Now, competition is different. Well, we're not talking about like friendly competition where you're, playing a board game and talking smack with your spouse and trying to enjoy the game, or, I don't know, playing basketball with your spouse and having a friendly game of basketball, playing video games with your spouse. But what we're talking about is Ayesha Curry and how, we have a timeline of we've all seen her in the media, social media, with her trying to compete with her husband with her DMs. Now we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Um,
mainly just how being competitive in any nature, just having that type of attitude in your relationship will leach over into other areas of
mhm.
your relationship. And like you were saying, we definitely see that with them in particular being played out in various ways because we all remember the infamous Red Table Talk, how she was like, oh, no man's in my DMs.
Right, and that's, to me, that's disgusting. I cannot fathom the thought of my wife trying to compete with me because of positive things that's going on in my life. To me, I look at that as a win for both of us. When I win, my wife wins. When I lose, we both lose. But when it comes down to your spouse independently wanting to compete with you because you're doing well, you have a problem on your hands. Now, it's not positive, and it's not conducive to anyone's relationship when you have to wake up every morning when you're realizing that my wife or my spouse, my husband, looks at me as a competitor. Ultimately, what that turns into is an enemy. You're sleeping with your enemy. Now, I've seen from experience situations to where spouses compete when it comes to incomes, money. That's a real big one with spouses. And then, hopefully not in marriages. My goodness, if you're competing with your spouse in your marriage, that is something that you all really need to talk about, really need to lay out on the table and resolve.
Yeah, because it really comes from a place of insecurity. And in a way, like envy,
Hmm.
which can only breed more hate and jealousy,
Right,
which is really, really toxic.
right.
That's super, super toxic. Women and men just really have to be mindful of that. Like you said, like, especially within the workplace, like you get a promotion and then next thing you know, your husband may be trying to get another promotion and then you may be like, oh, well, I got to get a better promotion than that. And, it's just a deadly cycle. And then what else do you try to one up your partner in?
Hmm. I mean, it could be as something as small as, like, Aisha Curry is DMs. Like, my goodness, like you can't enjoy your husband and his successes. When he wins, you win.
You don't even want these men.
Right. You don't even want these men who are in your DMs. Or, why is it that she has such a competitive mindset? And I kind of question how Stefan didn't see this in the beginning, as far as her being such a competitor in their relationship. Now, I know that the topic that she was talking about was weight loss.
Mhm.
And she stated she was competing in her own weird, twisted way in her head with her husband.
Yeah.
And then she said that she had to stop doing that and find out what works for her.
And to me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that even sounds a little worse than like going to your husband and being like, "Hey, honey, let's go to the gym and see who can lose the most amount of weight within
Right.
this amount of time." Because your husband's not even involved in this competitive situation you've concocted in your head in a way.
Right.
You know, it's just you in your mind, and
Secret
he's
competition.
yeah, and he's kind of like out of the loop, like maybe even wondering what's wrong, like why are you feeling the way you do, or you know.
Right. And what if you're in a situation where you're competing with your spouse like this, it is time to take a time out,
Yeah.
have a conversation and communicate if you are doing that. Now, it will be good on you, or it'd be a better judgment of character if you're the competitor to sit down and evaluate yourself, come to terms, and then tell the truth to your partner that you're doing this and you're operating out of, I don't know, you're struggling with something.
Yeah.
Ayesha Curry is struggling with something
Hmm.
in her life. More than likely, I don't know, started from childhood. It looks like she feels insecure, thinking that she's not good enough.
Right. Which is so like baffling because look who your husband is. Like you mean you have a top tier man, you know, one of a kind, and you can't appreciate the fact that you have him and
Right,
like just be and just think of how special that makes you. You
right,
know, like instead you don't feel that for yourself. You feel the need to, I guess, I don't know. And like you were saying earlier, it's not that we're saying simple competition of, you know, maybe what may be considered healthy, but just in general, I think competition within a relationship, the thought of competition, competing with your spouse will breed negativity somewhere else along the line. Like